The most important thing when considering innovation is pursuing opportunities. When you open Google Earth and type in Sarajevo, you will see hundreds, if not thousands, of missed opportunities in the form of empty and unused rooftops. Research has shown that flat rooftops can take up to 35% of total urban areas, and still most of that area ends up being unused. It is also known that the half of the world's population is currently living in cities, and it is projected that by 2050, around 70% of humankind will be urban dwellers. And when we take into consideration the extremely unhealthy conditions these people are living in, caused by pollution and the lack of green spaces, it is clear that we need to do something about it. Luckily, there's a way to fix both of these problems, and it is green rooftops. Green rooftops provide many social, environmental, financial, and health benefits. Research has shown that green rooftops play an important role in decreasing air pollution in many ways, but it all pretty much boils down to this fact. 1 square meter of green rooftops could offset the annual particulate matter emissions of one car, just 1 square meter. And apart from health benefits, green rooftops could prove to be excellent insulators and even provide a financial incentive for building owners by decreasing energy consumption and increasing savings, as the 2014 study summarized in this slide. And to be honest, there are countless benefits of using green rooftops, and this presentation is far too short to go over them all. And in this slide, you can see some of the most interesting ones. But the most interesting fact comes from the 2008 study that proved that green rooftops are the most cost-effective way of battling air pollution in urban environments. I repeat, the most cost-effective way. Now you might be asking yourself, how do green rooftops bring actual value to companies, and how is it just another ecological campaign? And the best way for me to answer is with a story. When Pixar was opening up its new headquarters in 1999, Steve Jobs personally insisted on a huge open main hall, simply because this area promotes random encounters and unplanned collaborations between employees and gets the best out of interdisciplinarity. And this is just one example of successful corporations increasing their productivity and improving corporate culture in this way. Sadly, most companies in Bosnia Herzegovina are not Pixar and cannot afford a new headquarters, but most of them have a huge unused space with an amazing view right above their heads. And green rooftops are the perfect way of making your workspace more zen. I'm talking to you, Sanat, and to everybody that wants to follow the footsteps of great corporations for a fraction of the price. Now I know what you're thinking. Why the hell isn't every rooftop green? And to be honest, in Western countries like the USA, Germany, and even in Slovenia and Croatia, a lot of them are. But unfortunately, Bosnia and Herzegovina is lagging behind in this aspect. And that's where we come in. An interdisciplinary team of like-minded and hardworking individuals who aim to repurpose empty rooftop spaces to achieve social, health, and environmental benefits. We are SkyHigh, experience brought up.
What makes this question especially interesting is its size. Customer size is estimated at 4,000 potential customers across Bosnia Herzegovina, and the market cap is estimated at $250 million US for Bosnia Herzegovina alone. Our goal is to increase the surface area of green rooftops in the city of Sarajevo by 15% in the first 5 years of our operations, because this is a number that a study put it as a threshold where the positive effects on air quality are becoming sensible. What makes us different? First, our customers will be including not only residential buildings, but also business, commercial, and public buildings. Second, we offer customizable and locally sourced tools for construction of social spaces. And finally, we only initialize our contact with the customers through services of consulting, design, and installation, but keep on nourishing them through organization of activities and maintenance. Here are some visuals of how it might look like. Now, concerning our revenue streams, we will be having a combined pricing. We will charge a third of the project after the installation, and the rest will be charged on a monthly basis over the course of 3 years. How do we plan on doing this? We are asking for $12,000 US for 50% equity stake in order to finance our first project. Our operational costs will be financed through public grants and public funding. Thank you.
Thank you so much, SkyHigh. Very nice presentation. I bet it was difficult to break the ice and go first. Now I open the floors to the investors to ask questions. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to raise a hand or just unmute yourself and ask a question.
Maybe I can ask a question. Sanad here from Zenda. Thank you for the shout out there, Nadir. We do love our rooftops. We invested a ton in our own building to have a rooftop ourselves because of the beautiful views we can have in Bosnia Herzegovina as well, with mountains and so on. So the only question I have is, and maybe you guys did cover it, but it went quite fast. And you mentioned that there's 4,000 customers. What is like the low-hanging fruit here? Who are the easiest people to sell to at this point? And is it the new buildings that are being built that you want to incorporate this into? Is it old buildings that are already there? But how does it work? Who are we selling to here?
Well, I believe what makes us different is that we're not only interested in new buildings. Of course, we will be working with constructors and new buildings, but our business model is basically meant for old buildings, and basically business buildings are the best customers for us because they are easiest to work on. But we won't limit ourselves to only business buildings and new buildings. We also want to work on tenant buildings with many tenants, and there are, based on the 2 studies that we found, we rounded up the number to about 4,000 viable buildings in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Sanad, for the question. Thank you, Nadir. We go now to Zoran Pulic, who raised the hand.
Yes, thank you for this beautiful presentation. We have had some experience with rooftops in the past. We have co-founded a company maybe 2 years ago to address a similar challenge in Bosnia, and it didn't go well. And the reason it didn't go well is because we couldn't just find enough customers for rooftops, and especially not from the residential buildings that you mentioned. Can you explain a little bit about the permits about residential buildings, the grants you mentioned you are going to receive, and do you have already the first couple of customers that you can talk to, and they basically commit? Do you have any soft commitments for the first project? Thank you.
So thank you for the question, Zoran. We have a couple of letter of interest, namely several IT companies in Sarajevo. We can give you details about that. The point you mentioned about residential buildings, yes, they are the most challenging ones since there are multiple people at stake and it needs to be a consensus. Would you be so kind to repeat the second question? I cannot remember. What was your second question? The permits, right?
Excuse me?
You asked about the permits, right? We will be having there are a lot of permits. We've included all the price of all the permits in our cost calculations. We can give you details about that, but it all boils down to approximately 35,000 marks in expenses for 200 square meters of rooftop area. We will also have to be checking if the rooftop is viable for construction in that case. That is a short answer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrej. Thank you, Zoran, for the question. Now we go to Asim.
Thanks. Thank you for this presentation. It was great. As Sana said, it was a little bit faster than expected, so maybe some of the things went through me as well. But one question is, what have you done so far, and how have you validated this business? Have you been talking with some potential customers and potential users of different kind of competitors and etc.? And what is the, let's say, unique elevator pitch of why this should succeed compared to some other businesses that are in the niche?
Thank you for the question, Masim. So basically, what sets us apart from other companies that offer similar services is the nourishment of the relationship with customers. So we will not be done once the installation is finished. We'll have a continued relationship because of the period of the payoff and also because of our services. And in addition to that, the companies that are working in the Balkans are mainly construction companies. They do not offer personalized approach. They mostly resell products from produce from Germany and other European countries, and we will be focusing on locally sourced materials. Does that cover your question?
Yeah, it's okay, thanks. Yeah, and definitely, you know, to repeat one more time, you know, like what would be the, you know, 10-second elevator pitch, you know, what's the product, what's the business, you know, how you would pitch it to the, you know, to us, to anybody, you know, in 10 seconds, 15 seconds. What do you do, guys?
We do customizable, locally sourced construction of community spaces for companies.
Nice.
Allow them
That's
for
what I was
implementing
asking. Thanks.
activity. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrej. Thank you, Asim. I'll just remind you that you can all ask questions afterwards when we go to breakout rooms and have a detailed chat with the team. Now, we'll go shortly to Meira and finish with the Q&A part and go to the next team. Welcome, Meira.
Thanks. And indeed, thank you for these inspiring presentations and great green photos. 2 questions from my side. How do you, I mean, what are your projections when it comes to the return on investment? You said that you will be investing, I think the first investment would be 12,000 km, if I understood well. That's one. And the second one is what happens after the installation is finished? So how do you maintain all these gardens, the rooftop gardens, and how do you water it? How do you feed it? I don't know, whatever it takes for it to stay alive. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the question. Well, our main proposition is that we are aiming to be a one-stop shop. So we will be offering the consultation, construction of the project, installation, and also maintenance. So we will have a base of workers, gardeners. In addition to that, we will be offering like mental health activities like yoga and relaxing activities. So that is the part of the maintenance and activity organization of our services. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Andrej. Sorry, go for it.
Return on the investment. I don't know, maybe I missed it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to answer that one. Our initial calculations imply that it will need at least 5 years for the break even. Thank you.